I am Zaynah, the founder of South South Women. And through South South Women, you are here in a space of inclusion, of honor, of acceptance, of cultural awareness, and of integration. As South South Women, we believe in the impact that women can make leading positive change and cooperation across cultures for the betterment of everyone. And so when we speak of everyone, we speak of men as well. And indeed, we are a network of conscientious men and women aspiring in our sharing of wisdom and the impact that we can have across the world. And having said that, we were just having a conversation with Kadzo before everybody joined. And given the theme of today's conversation, I had come across a stat from the World Bank just earlier today that is talking about how 48 million people, that is the size of the population of most of our countries, but 48 million people are going to go back into extreme poverty with everything that we have been experiencing through this situation and with coronavirus. And that broke my heart in a way. And it also led me to thinking how significant the conversation is today. Because during my time over the past 4 months or 3 months in what we've been calling global lockdown, there are two strategies that have been really useful for me, or that I have come across that have been working for me and I'm now able to articulate. And the first is kindness. It has literally been shifting the focus fully off myself and fully onto somebody else, especially in moments of anxiety and moments of sadness and moments of helplessness. And kindness, whether it be the smallest act of preparing a meal for somebody that we have seen on the street, or reaching out to somebody and saying, how can I support with your business? Or, and Ibiene had talked about this in the very first wisdom conversation we had, how important it is to be reaching out to people. But kindness has helped to dissipate fear and blame and helplessness, and has actually left me with the truest experience of myself. And in those moments, I feel hugely connected to my essence. And it's surprising to think that in moments where we are experiencing, negative emotions, that we can still connect to who we are. And that taught me that taking one action with the smallest intention towards love and towards helping and towards being of service can actually help us feel whole in any moment. And the second thing that I've recognized over the past few months is that we ask ourselves so often the question, where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Or what do I see myself as in 5 years' time? And the most important question of our day is no longer that. It is now, who do I see myself as? And I believe that taking the focus of materialistic objectives as individuals and as organizations will prepare us to solve the greatest issues of our time. And one of the greatest issues of our time in terms of inequality and injustice is poverty. And now we're talking again about extreme poverty. And for the countries of the global south, emerging economies, developing countries, this is something that's up to each of us to resolve. And the Black Lives Matter movement, the Me Too movement, the 2019 global uprisings and protests were just the beginning of paving the way for the lives of all vulnerable and marginalized communities to matter. And we may be forced to live or to continue to live with a pandemic, or to grow accustomed to living that way. And so this brings me to, from my experience in thinking about today, to welcome you all to today's Wisdom Conversations, which is a collaboration with Crear Valor in Mexico. And Crear Valor is an initiative that is about recognizing leadership and culture and creating conscious leadership and conscious culture. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for giving your time and your energy to be here today. I want to thank in especial our guest influencers today, who are two women mothers from Mexico and from Kenya, social impact-based entrepreneurs who are in their own ways, in their own countries, and from their own cultures and experiences, addressing how to shape the future generation while solving human issues from their source. They both have rich, intriguing, diverse backgrounds which have led them to where they are today, which is in this moment here with us. And I know that they will say a little bit more about that when they introduce themselves. And what I will do is introduce both of them at one go, and then we can go into the conversation. Agueda Gon is from Mexico. She's a chemical engineer with a master in public administration and public policy, with over 12 years of experience designing social impact and social development projects for communities and including for UN Habitat. And so she's in Mexico, the founder of what is called Camino Colectivo, which is an organization focused on sustainable development. But she's also the co-founder of what is called Her Safe Space. And that is a social enterprise that seeks gender equality in business and in society, including families and organizations. And we also have with us today Kadzo Kangwana, a Kenyan, now living in the US, a psychotherapist, a life and parenting coach, a speaker, a writer, and a term that she has adopted from her kids, I believe, called world citizen. And that's because she has lived in over 4 continents with experience from everything in international conservation to community empowerment. So this fact, I think, will impress a few. She holds a PhD in zoology from Cambridge University and a BA in zoology from Oxford University. Sorry, we've just, okay, a technical thing. Alejandra, you are now co-host. Sorry, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, so to just finish up on Kadzo, and sorry for that interruption, Kadzo. Kadzo is also passionate about authentic conversations, authentic relationships, parenting, and spirituality. So a warm welcome to two of our powerful women who will be sharing with us today. And I extend that warm welcome on behalf of the South Women Directors and Pioneer Influencers, Kelly Aburi and Ibiene Ogolo. And extend a warm welcome to everybody who has just joined us. Mabel, Eli Eisa, Marian Zomo, Lolia K, Ojini. Hi, Ojini. I think you'll connect directly with Agueda in this conversation. And so welcome everyone. Let's begin. Kadzo, are you ready to go? So we'll keep ourselves on mute. We'll have a conversation at the end. Please do unmute yourselves once the speaker has finished so that we can show our appreciation. And meanwhile, we will use the chat to interact while the conversations are going on. So on the chat, let us know who you are, where you're from, anything in particular you would like for us to know about you, and leave us your social media handles so that we can continue to connect with you when we do our post-wisdom conversation updates. Kadzo, welcome.
Thank you so much, Zaynah, and hello, everyone. It's such an honor to be in this space. I've really enjoyed the last few meetings I've been at and feel very honored to be asked to contribute. Thank you, Kelly, for introducing me into this forum. And I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge the presence of my lovely mother-in-law, Jale Asani, who just did such a tremendous job of raising my husband that he's just the source of joy and happiness. So thanks, Jale. I'm going to just share a screen and go through some pictures so that you can enjoy those while I speak. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. And so today we decided, Aguedo and I, to talk about leaning into hardship strategies for surviving turbulent times. And as you heard, I'm a psychotherapist, but my path here has not been a direct one. I started my professional career studying elephants and working as a conservation manager in sub-Saharan Africa. I studied elephants in Amboseli National Park. And while I was working in conservation, I started to realize, and this was in my early 20s, which is a very long time ago now, I started to realize that I was dealing with symptoms of problems rather than the root cause. And for me, you know, and some people are happy with working in that sphere, but for me, I really wanted to think about, well, what is going on? What is the root cause? And as I thought about it, you know, elephants were being poached, rhinos were being poached because there were people that were being motivated by greed, quick profit, wanting to make the money, but there were also people buying these products that were buying them without any thought to the consequences of what they were doing. And so I decided that the real problem or the root of many of the world's crises really lies in the space of human motivation and behavior. And so this is what brought me to finally deciding that I needed to retrain in mental health to understand how people think and feel and behave. And that's what led me to my current space in psychotherapy and coaching. And looking at the world, just as, you know, this wonderful introduction by Zaynah to the problems that we are facing as a human family, there are catastrophic results that come out of this pandemic with COVID all over the world. There's also a level of unrest, tension, racial tension in the country that I'm living in now, that really are causing a lot of people to get on the phone and say, well, what are we supposed to do? How do we navigate this? So there's a lot of anxiety. And so that informed the kinds of calls that I'm getting now in my work, informed what I want to share here. So I'm hoping that it will be helpful to each of you too. So the first strategy that I would say in terms of navigating turbulent times is to know who you are, to know yourself. And when people ask us, you know, who are you? This question we tend to answer in terms of, okay, this is my ethnicity, this is my nationality, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, my job is, you know, banker. But I want us to think about this question at the most fundamental level. And one of the ways that we can get to that is when I say, you know, this is my foot, or these are my fingers. What is that entity that owns those fingers? What is that entity that owns that foot? And that then brings us right to the core of who we are at the most fundamental level, at the core. And people use different words to describe this reality. Some people say essence, some people say soul, spirit, inner light. Whatever word it is that you would apply to that very center of your being, we need to start to define ourselves there. The reason being, at that level, we become more grounded and more powerful to navigate whatever it is that's coming to us. So navigating life from the actual center of our being is a fundamental piece of moving through turbulent times in a grounded way. Let's look at this idea from a slightly different perspective. So if we were to think that as humans, we exist on various levels, that we have a physical body, we have an emotional reality, and then we have this essence. And I said, you know, you can substitute any word you wish, as soul, spirit, inner light, whatever you're comfortable with, right? At the level of the physical body, say I'm over here, this circle, that puts me very far away from somebody here. And just watch my cursor, right? So I'm here in Connecticut, my physical body sitting in this particular room, but you know, Kelly sitting in Nairobi is over here, and physically there is a great distance between us. Then if we move further in, you know, and all of us exist like in all of these dimensions, but if we move further into the place here of emotions, right? My physical body can be in Kenya, but I can express a sadness that then somebody in Mexico, Fernando, say, would actually be able to relate to that sadness that I feel and maybe be brought to tears when I share. So at the emotional level, at the psychological level, we're closer to one another than we are here at the physical body. And then if we go into this very center of our being, right, the owner of the fingers that we call essence or soul or spirit, right, we're actually in the same place. We are actually one, right? We are one soul spread about all over the planet. We are one being. And this idea of oneness is actually the foundation for moving forward to solve all the problems that face us. As Zaynah was saying initially, you know, the sort of millions of people going into extreme poverty, right? At this level of essence, it's all of us, right? And so we're no longer in a position where we can say, oh, well, that's over there, we're over here, this is a different reality. So when we start to understand that anybody living in extreme poverty, any one person living in extreme poverty means that we are all living in extreme poverty. Any one person hurting on the world means that we are all at this level hurting. Then we can start to actually take the constructive steps forward to solve a problem as if we are all brothers and sisters. The next strategy and I'll just click here, is to know our purpose, right? And there's a lot of talk in the current world about, you know, you have to understand what life means, know your purpose, and it can seem overwhelming in some ways, because how do you even know what you're here to do given all of the myriad possibilities? And so what I'd like to offer is that we actually already have an innate sense of what our purpose is, right? And the way that we'll come to that is to think about the idea that design and purpose usually go together. So I'm going to show you my pencil here, right? It is designed to write. There's a lead in the middle. There's a piece of wood around the lead to prevent the lead from breaking. It's designed so I can hold it. It has a point. So the design of this pencil is to write. If I were to look at a lamp, the lamp is not designed like the pencil. The lamp is designed to give light. So things are designed according to purpose, and that probably applies to us as well. In fact, it does. So I'm going to ask you all to just take a minute to fill in a blank with the first word that comes to mind on the chat. And I'm going to say the following. Pen is to write. Lamp is to illumine or give light. Human is to blank. So if you just take a minute to write in the chat, and then maybe Zaynah, you can read some of those answers out for me. Zaynah, you're on mute.
Love comes from Soya, thank you. Shine comes from Alejandra. Help others comes from Enise. Care comes from Wakanyi. Share comes from Mausi. Connect comes from Kelly. Care comes from Isosa. Create comes from Huda.
Wonderful. Okay. Beautiful. Thanks.
Help and create value from Ola. Love is from Fernando. Nature is from Ibiene. Love is from Ojini. Love and serve from Ronke. Beautiful is from Mabel.
Okay.
Give to others is from Jale.
Okay. Wonderful. So thank you so
Care
much.
and empathy from Helen.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Nurture from Ibiene.
I'd love to actually capture those later on because they're also wonderful. But as you listen to the answers, it becomes very obvious to me, and I'm sure to all of you, that each one of us has a good sense that our purpose has to do with something about supporting somebody else, right? So our purpose essentially is defined by our relationship, our love, right? That we give others, our desire to support, our desire to serve. So, and every human being, I haven't asked this question to anybody that hasn't come up with an answer that isn't about a relationship to something bigger. Other people, could be nature, but it could be this love. It's really about finding a role to serve others, right? That's the core of that answer that comes to the top of our mind when we fill in that blank. And so in that umbrella of we are here to serve, we are here to help others, right? It becomes much easier to then just figure out, well, okay, so what is my area of service, right? We're not asking ourselves this large existential question of I need to find my purpose, but we're like, oh, so how do I need to serve? And then it becomes easier to answer that question because we can think about the talents we have, the attributes, our qualities of character, and we can also think about the things that bring us joy. And then that becomes sort of the framework for which we think, okay, I might serve. And then we can also start to think about, okay, so if I'm here to solve a problem, and what is that problem that I might be here to solve? And if we think about the state of the earth, the planet, and we think about, well, what is it that bothers me the most about what's going on? Then we tap into a passion where we can serve, right? So for some people, they're most bothered by the fact that people don't have adequate health care. Some people are most bothered by the fact that, children are not being educated right. Others are being bothered by the fact that the economic systems of the planet are not equitable, right? So, and the answer is different for everybody, but within that sphere of what bothers you, you find a passion and a space to manifest your purpose under the overarching umbrella of service to humanity. And then finally, this idea, and this is the third strategy that I want to talk about, is this sort of leaning into hardship. All of us, I'm sure, have had the experience where you've been through such difficulty, you've had a tough time, you've had a series of difficult years, and you can look back and you can think about, gosh, I wouldn't have wished that difficulty on myself, but I am wiser, I am stronger, I've learned a lot, and while I didn't love it going through it, I'm better off having come through it, right? And what I want to offer is that actually, if we approach difficulties, and there are many, and there are going to be many more coming up as we move forward, with everybody around us struggling so much, is if we from the beginning start to think that this difficulty has some wisdom to it, has something to teach me, has a way to make me stronger, then our whole relationship with what we find challenging completely changes. So we no longer wait for until it's over and then thinking, oh, okay, that was rough, but here I am and I'm doing better. We're actually approaching the difficulty, looking for that silver lining, looking for the wisdom, looking for the test. And I think this is particularly important when we think about our roles with younger people, because many of the narratives that we offer younger people in terms of how life works are, if you're good, good things will happen, right? And if you behave well, there will be good consequences, right? And different cultures communicate that in different ways. But it actually does our children a disservice not to prepare them for life is supposed to be difficult. And the difficulties are actually a gift that can help you grow and can help you become a stronger person. Because if they start off with these kinds of messages feeding into their subconscious from an early age, they are more resilient for handling hardship. So not only do we need to change that narrative and relationship with difficulty for ourselves, but also see how we can contribute that view that these difficulties are gifts that we can grow from right from the beginning. So in summary, just sort of going back, this is my contact information. What I was thinking to do is I would write the notes from this conversation and post them as my next newsletter. So if you go to my website and subscribe to my newsletter, you will then receive these notes, and hopefully that will be of help to you. And I also offer a free 30-minute coaching call that you would get automatically if you subscribe to my newsletter. So please do that, take advantage of that. I don't know how long I'm going to leave it up for. But anyway, so to summarize, one is know who we are at this deep level of this entity at our core. The second is to find our purpose within the framework of service to others. And then the third is to look at difficulties as they begin, as they're around us, with the fact that they present a wisdom and a gift for our growth rather than waiting until they're over. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kadzo. That was incredible wisdom. And I particularly love the wisdom for conversations with children. I mean, it's such a new perspective on what to talk about at the dinner table. And I think of everything that you've said in terms of connecting to the essence of our children. And if they are able to articulate through our questions who they are, that gives us direction as parents or aunts or uncles to engage with them. And then to also prepare for life as if life is not just about good things happening to good people. Good things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people, and vice versa. So how do you prepare yourself? How do we prepare you for that? That was really, really beautiful perspective. Thank you. And before I ask Agueda to come on, I want to give a warm welcome to Zaynab Khalifa, to Soya. Thank you for joining us. And to Omu, thank you so much for being here. So I think.
Hi.
Okay,
Thank
welcome.
you.
And Agueda?
Yes, here I am. Here I am.
Take it away. Thank you for providing us with that amazing background.
Oh no, it's because I am in the my children rooms and they are toys and
Oh, good.
and some other
Okay.
things. So my background it's better.
Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, all of you. I'm very, very happy and thankful for this invitation to share some thoughts, some insights that I have been learned or realized along the some experience in my life. I'm glad that Fernando invited me in this kind of sessions and about creating value. This is a great moment and conversation to create value. I'm glad that my mom and my sister is here. Ellie and Nisa is here and join with us to this talk. What can I tell you about me? I want to tell you that I am a 35-year-old Mexican happily married woman with 2 children, one with 4 years old and another newborn. Recently had one month, and I came from a multicultural family too. My parental grandparents were Chinese, and who migrated to Mexico, looking for a better life. And my maternal parents were Mexican with an indigenous origins. All four lived in poverty conditions, and two of them reached their better life dreams. You have heard my bio, and I am that. So, but I wanted to share with you one of my origins, some of my origins. So I love my Mexican blood, my country, my culture, and I honor my origins because that is part that what I am today. Um, um, I am very conscious how that has impacted in my decisions and influence in my path and in my way. Um, and we commonly, I don't know if you are in this kind of your story, but we are commonly tell the results and achievements, and like my short video that Zaynah read, that Agueda studied engineer is the chemistry engineer, and some of like that. But it could be somewhere if we tell all the things and experiences that we all of us transit or navigate to reach every goal that we are accumulating in our life. Don't you think? But every goal and objective that we reach in our lives involves search strategies, personal strategies, efforts, fall downs maybe, and look for new strategies from the floor, sometimes sacrifices, etc. And I'm not pretend that tell you I received right now, but maybe some experiences and um, am I what I did to learn some or to realize some insights that maybe in another experiences in the future we can apply and take some learnings and take some more welfare, more personal welfare, more self-conscious, and create more social impact in our world. So let me tell you about one experience. When I decided to dedicate my professional career in social development, I have been finished my college, and I was in my last semester. I decided that I am not willing to work uh, eight, 8 hours per day and dedicated myself to the chemical industry. I really wanted my heart and my mind only have been focused in what can I do for another people, for the poverty, for social impact. That was only in my mind. But I am recently graduated of chemical industry, a chemical engineer. So I have to decide what I want. Um, I have I have two strong motivations to decide it. One, if my family could overcome the poverty conditions, and I have the privilege to receive education in one of the best universities of Mexico, I want to put my knowledge and my talents at the service of the world. And my second motivation was create and deliver tools for overcome the poverty and inequality, because if in my family could happen this, oh, this could happen in more families. We can create it, that we can support to do that. That that strong motivations guide me to decide that I wanted to dedicate myself to social development, but there were some difficulties to take that decision, and this is only an example. Maybe I invited you that here in this moment you think about one experience of your life that you want to take a decision, but you had some difficulties, but because we all of maybe uh, we have been in this moment in some parts of our lives. So in that part of my life, uh, like 13 years more or less, not weren't easy to take that decision, because one, I had to work to support myself and pay my loan, my scholar loan, and who will hire some chemical engineer to do social projects. If during my career and during my college, I did social projects, impulse some organizations, and professionalization of social projects, but I were not professional of social projects. So two problems. And another problems that a part of my family tell me, come on, you spent 5 years in your college. What are you doing in social projects? You will receive a little money, and as a chemical engineer you can reach a lot of money. And that make me feel uncertain and afraid to take the decision. And another else difficulties like social pressure. My classmates told me, Agueda, what are you doing? Uh, we can work in the best consultancies, the best industry, and our social projects really. That many that difficulties was you feel lack support. Well, that is only a part of my experience, but then I reached a job in 15 days in my first job, where in Monterrey Tech, the university, my alma mater. And that was my start of my professional career that I loved. Um, in that moment, I made me three questions. One, who I had been. My heart and my intuition were very clear, but I had to choose, and who I had chosen to be. Um, so I think in the turbulent times, in the turbulent personal times, maybe we had been afraid, feel lack of support, anxious about the future, uncertainty, about the economy, about social, about the environment, etc. But I invite you to ask yourself, who are you in these turbulent times, in these COVID times, and who are you choose to be? If I look backwards, many times and experiences I have made and asked me these questions. When I decided to create a family, and when I decided to marriage, when I decided to launch my organization and to be entrepreneur, that was not really easy. When I decided to work in government some time, so we can navigate for these turbulent times, and I want to share with you some strategies that for me it had been my strategies, but I think you could use it. And I am sharing screen. These are my personal strategies that I recommended to you. First, connect spiritually yourself. Whatever are your religion, your spiritual beliefs, I think this part of you strengthen your intuition and your little voice that are in you to take decisions, to know what is your way in that moments that you are takes decision. This COVID time, this turbulent time, is it's fully of decisions we had to take, and on many insights, many thoughts that we have. And this the first recommendation allows you to visualize what do you want and what do you have to do, and ask you what I feeling with these turbulent times, what are these feelings, and don't avoid them, don't avoid them, don't I don't know, I'm really happy. No, it's okay, feel sad or feel anxious. Just realize what are you feeling, what are you each day, and connect with yourself. The next strategy I think could help. What do you have to learn about this? Ask to yourself, what is the learning here? Am I have to be more patient? Am I have uh, to be more creative? What this situation is tell me about? about my life, about my family, about my society, about my country, and what I have to learn of this. The next strategy is be creative and think positive. When we are navigating through the path, the way to achieve some goal, to some final, some meta, we are fully of thoughts or fully of voices, but if we maintain ourselves, think positive and creative in the way, our mind is really powerful, and our thoughts define our steps too, and the steps go with us to the achieve. We don't achieve the goal in one moment, in one step. Maybe if it's in one step, to do that step implies a process and some activities. No, be creative and think positive in this process. Another recommendation is be realistic, but without allow the anxious control you. I fastly share you that when COVID starts in Mexico, I was 8 months of pregnancy, and I was really optimistic, and yes, this will be change the world. But then I had to be realistic. There were many risks, so it is many risks, sanitary risks, health risks, and from my birth in the hospital, it could be many risks. So I had to be realistic, but without allow the anxious control me. So yes, the optimistic, it's okay, but be realistic too. Another strategy is analyze what is your social impact in your daily life, in your job, in your attitude, in your actions with your friends, with your family, in all of your environment. Analyze if you can improve some of this social impact. If one of clearly learning COVID give us is that we are all connected in the whole planet. So analyze what is your social impact, because if we are so deeply connected, what am I doing about that? What is my social impact? Am I a negative impact? Am I positive impact? But in that way, what can I improve that? Ask yourself. And finally, ask, what generation are we creating? As a mother, I have the responsibility with my husband to form, to give a combination for our children, to criarlos. So
to raise them.
But thank you. If we and maybe you say, I don't have children, I am okay, but you are a part of create the next generation too, because you impact it to the world and the next generation with your job, with your attitude, with your actions in all of the spaces of your life. And I think this final question is, what is your legacy to? What is your legacy to the world? Because we, well, with all of our actions, we give a legacy at the world, and we start creating and the next generation. If we are create an equally conditioned generation, um, many of us has super moms. I have a super mom that had a lot of work, a lot of sacrifices, that to my sister, my brother, and I study in the best schools and wherever. But I think, and on honor that, we have to do and to take next step. And I create. We have the challenge to create an equal condition to men and women to participate in caring, in work, in socially, in social and political too. So we have this challenge to work together as a team, men and women, country, another country, and work together for the next future. I really think that we have in our hands the possibility to create the best future until up to now. So what is the kind of generation that we are creating and we want to create? Thank you.
Agueda, thank you so much. You know, what's incredible is that you gave such a beautiful tribute to mothers and super moms, which you are, because up to 10 minutes before this wisdom conversation, your baby was crying and feeling sick. And you still did everything you needed to do to to honor your commitment to be here on this call, to speak in a language that is not your first language. Mm-hmm. And this is what I love about bringing cultures together, when we actually choose to listen to the other, when we can put aside our biases and actually listen to the wisdom that people who are from a different place to us have to share. And you did that beautifully today. And you talked about who you choose to be in turbulent times, and that way of being for you helped you choose a career, start a job, start a family, and all of that in spite of what everybody else was saying to you could work or could not work for you. So thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your insights. And I just loved your question, because you have a child who is less than 1 month old. And the question that you are asking yourself is, how do I raise a good son and a good daughter? Lost. Who am I shaping? How am I shaping the future through how I raise my kids? And I know and I'll take this opportunity to introduce Kavi. I know we just heard your child on the line, and thanks for being here. And also to introduce Nancy. Thank you for being here. To bring it back to you, Agueda, thank you so much for demonstrating to us that who you are as a being of as an existence of different nationalities and different cultures, Mexican and Chinese. You were really able to bring some incredible wisdom from your experience to the conversation. So thank you. And we will take that to any questions that anybody has or any comments that anybody has based on the two wisdom bearers that we heard from. And if you would like to address those to either Kadzo or to Agueda. So Kelly is saying, thank you, Agueda, lots of learnings. Kelly, would you like to share?
Hi everyone. I don't really have much to say, except thank you so much to both of you. Agueda, one of the things that came to mind is I struggle in my native language to speak when anybody asks me to talk. And I always say to Zaynah, no, I can't do it, I can't do it. And I speak English. So when I hear someone, even last week when we had August and from Argentina and you, and I'm thinking, this is not your native language and you do so well and you express yourself so well. So I think kudos to you and Kadzo. I think what you did is you brought us into this essence, and all of us are so connected now because we're in this very small space of spiritual attachment and connection. And I love that analogy. And I have to say, my friends like Ronka and you and many people around the world, I never felt that I was so distant from you. And now I know why, because we share the essence. So I think that's really powerful. And if you don't mind, I'd love to use it because I'm going to plagiarize it because it's such a powerful image of how we all share that space intimately when we're connected from heart to heart and soul to soul. So thank you for that. I wasn't sure we'd still be here because Nairobi now is experiencing a huge storm. So I thought that we were going to get cut off at some point. But thank you, everybody, both you and Agueda Kadzo, really fantastic.
Thank you, Kelly. Helen is saying to Agueda, Helen, we would love to hear your voice. As you say to Agueda, I see a lot of passion in what you do. Thank you. And Tekena said, thank you for the reminder on the need to first connect spiritually. Tekena, if you have anything specific to share there, please, we'd love to hear your voice.
But maybe I practice some meditation and Reiki. I think, and I believe in God, and I pray and connect with God. I think you seek your personal your personal ways, but meditation is one of the powerful practice that I recommend to you.
Thank you so much. Kavita, welcome. I think you missed when I was introducing you earlier.
I did. I'm so sorry. I lost audio, so I had to leave and jump back on. So I'm really sorry about that. I wasn't sure what you were saying, and I thought, oh, I hope she's not saying anything to me.
Why don't you just quickly tell everyone what you, just in a couple of sentences, sure, what you're doing, especially while COVID is occurring, and what you're doing for Kenyans in that.
Sure, yeah. So hi, everybody. My name's Kavita and I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. So I run a small not-for-profit that I started at the end of last year, which is called Charity Connect. And it's about creating genuine impact. So I felt there was a real gap between those wishing to give back and then those who are genuine beneficiaries. There was like a trust barrier, and often you wouldn't know where your donations were going or your efforts were going, and there wouldn't be the follow-up and there wouldn't be the checks and balances to know that your impact was actually real and going to the right people. So Charity Connect seeks to identify those genuine initiatives and build relationships with them, and then connect donors to them so that you can have that level of trust that your efforts are going to the right place. So prior to COVID, actually, it was just serendipitous that we had been able to map a lot of beneficiaries. So we had about 670 families within our network that I'd personally visited and been to and needs tested. So that mapping had started in December last year. And then actually when COVID hit, and because all donations kind of have to be at arm's length at the moment, we used that trusted network to be able to get dry food items, pre-packed food items to the homeless, and dry food. Sorry, my daughter's here as well. My time ran out. One sec, darling. So so sorry about that, but we're getting dry food items and all those essentials and staples to those families because they've already been needs tested. So even one sec, darling. So actually using that trusted network has been really powerful during this time when a lot of people just have to give money and trust that it's going to the right place. So that's really what we've been doing. We've been getting fresh greens, we've been getting dry food items and pre-packed items to those. Sorry about that.
Well, thank you so much, because we've been talking about impact that comes from your passion and that project started on a really small scale and has turned out to be one of the big saviors for communities across the city during this time. So that was I felt it was important for her to share, because by profession she's a lawyer, and she's actually starting a business with construction or real estate. So all of this comes together so carefully in the conversation that we've cultivated today, especially as people who are responsible for shaping the thought processes of our future generation. And of course that applies if you are a mother in this time or a father in this time, but it equally applies as family members who are engaging with our nieces and nephews and children who are asking the questions, what's happening now? What's my role in this? And you have, I believe through these conversations, a real entry point now to answer or to even begin a wisdom dialogue with children around the dinner table. And so I would, she hasn't joined yet. Are there any other, Fernando, would you like to share something? I don't see you on screen, but you may. Okay. Otherwise, Fernando? Okay, go on.
Sorry, I was mute. No, thank you very much. I'm in my phone moving around, so that's why I put off my camera. But no, thank you very much. I think each word, each people, each of you, each of us, and each action and each wisdom conversation makes a difference. You never know who we can impact with a little action. So we should not stop in sharing in our languages, in connecting, in inviting people. But I think that each of us and each of the people, and thank you very much with South Women, because it's a voice, and when people add and come together, make a higher voice. So I feel, and I've been left with, no matter what you have to say, no matter what action you have to do, don't doubt on doing it, and don't doubt in speaking loud, because each of us can make a difference, and together we more. And these are new times for the world, and we need different tools and different abilities and different skills. And the main thing we have to do is non-stop, just change and go forward. So thank you very much, and I appreciate all this work you are doing, Zaynah, and with all of the people, of course.
Thank you, Fernando, and thank you for this collaboration with Crear Valor, through which it was our intention to bring Mexico and Mexican culture closer to us. And I believe that through Agueda, we have really had a good sense of that. So I would like to make an announcement, and then perhaps we can close, but to welcome Rosario from Argentina. Hola, Rosario. Thank you for being here with us. If you want to say something, you're on mute.
Thank you very much, Zaynah. I love your work, so I'm very happy to be here with you virtually.
So great to have you here for the first time, and we look forward to seeing more of you and hearing more of you. And also to recognize once again Mary Nzomo, the equivalent to the Minister for Agriculture of one of our counties in Kenya, and Dr. Ambassador Josephine Ojiambo, who was the former ambassador for Kenya to the UN and dealt in large part with the entire South-South mandate within the UN system. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to Sandra Martinuzzi, yes, I hear a microphone on.
I just want to say hi. This is Ambassador Jumbo. It's nice to join you. It's at the end of the conversation. I was on another call where we're dealing with the issues of COVID, and I hadn't really set up, it's not the best lighting, but just to say that's a lovely conversation, and I'm so delighted and really moved by the stories of women contributing at this time to their communities around ending or containing COVID. So we're doing a lot of work on that right now. I'm supporting the Ministry of Health on a partnership with private sector, and I'll share another time. Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks so much, Zaynah. It's lovely to see you again. Bye for now.
Great to see you and to hear your voice, and to continue to be engaged in conversations about what it's possible to do together. And thank you for all your work and commitment to our country and to our continent.
Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Okay, would we like to hear from one of the men who's participated, and then we can close? No, it's all about the women today. Okay, so Kadzo, I'll hand it over to you to give a final wrap up, and then I'll ask Ibiene, our pioneer influencer for South Women, to close. Is that okay? All right.
Thank you so much, everyone. What a rich conversation. And, you know, going out, starting the Monday here, because it's early in the morning, with the power of knowing that this collective will in different parts of the planet are all focused on making things better for other people is very powerful. So thank you for creating the South-South space, Kelly and Zaynah, and also thanks for everyone that comes here. I look forward to the next one. And again, to sort of go out grounded in the reality, your true reality, as Agueda said, you know, we're first spiritual. That essence is essentially a spiritual reality that I talked about. And that's the foundation from which we need to come if we're going to make a difference on the planet. So we need to explore that piece of us more and more.
Beautiful. And just before Ibiene closes, I wanted to say that we are launching in August the South-South Women Impact Academy, which means that there will be workshops derived from the wisdom conversations and turned into opportunities for women and men across the Global South to participate in together. And what we had initiated with the first two wisdom conversations was that who wrote to us and told us a bit about themselves, their enterprise, meaning the difference that they want to make in their communities or through their businesses, we would offer a free entry into the first Impact Academy workshops. So we'll extend that offer again today. And Mausi is here online. And Mausi was one of the first people who wrote to us and to share a little bit about herself, and she is from Argentina. So Mausi, if you'd just like to say just a couple of things about you before we close officially, but Mausi will be and Helen from Nigeria will be one of the first two participants in the South Women Impact Academy workshop. And we will be revealing more about that later.
Okay, thank you, Zaynah. Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm so happy about it. I'm from Argentina. I'm a human resources professional, and this year I decided to change my career, and I quit my job and decided to do what I love. Love is helping people and share my skills with other women and men who want to contribute to a better world. And well, lucky I found this space, that it's a great space to meet another people. So I'm so happy to do this, to have this opportunity the South Women are giving to me. So I would try to do my best, and I hope we can share experience, opportunities. I don't know. I'm so happy and so excited. I'm looking forward to start. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Mausi. Muchas gracias. And I know Tekena, would you like to say something?
I really enjoyed the session, and I just want to talk a bit about what Agueda spoke on spirituality. I believe in God, and this time has actually allowed me to spend more time reflecting, meditating, and actually spend a lot of time too in prayer. So, and what I find out that has done is that regardless of how gloomy and discouraging and fearful the whole situation currently is, I'm able to dig deep and still find peace. I have hope, which I share with others, and you can actually find purpose in all of this, you know. So that's why I really think it was an important point she made there, and I also wanted to emphasize it. Thank you so much.
Where are you from, Tekena?
I'm from Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for being here today and for your comments. And it's just
thank you too.
Beautiful to hear you articulate in a way that connects directly to Agueda from Mexico. So thank you for bringing that to the conversation. And it is truly what I'm hearing from this conversation, our spirituality that aligns us, and more during the time. And I do want to reiterate the words from Agueda's family, from Eli and Isa. We would like to say thank you, Age. We are so proud of you, me and Mom. Thank you both muchas gracias to both of you for being here, for supporting Agueda, and also to Kadzo's mother-in-law for being here with us today. Okay, so I will hand over to Ibien.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for honoring us with your time, for bringing your light, your peace, and your love to this space. Thank you for sharing without shame and without inhibition. Thank you, participants who have listened and who have sent in questions. Thank you, influencers who have taken us through two very beautiful and inspirational experiences. We pray that collectively we can let our light shine and change the world one person at a time. Thank you very much. South Women is here to uphold and hold hands with you and taking the world to the place where it ought to be. Thank you. Let's go into the week and shine. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That was great. Thanks so much. See you next week.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.